Hey, everybody, welcome to a brand new edition of Face the Heels. This is episode 27. My name is Ben Cornett. What's going on, wrestling fans? Now, I want to first off apologize to all the wrestling fans out there I've not produced a Face the Heels episode in a while. It's been like a month. I just want to say real quick that it's uh, been really busy. Obviously, also football season's kind of um, overshadowed wrestling a little bit, and maybe rightfully so. At least in my opinion. Not that I'm ignoring wrestling. I'm still watching some of it. I'm still reading the articles, the dirt sheets, all that stuff. But I want to say this is actually a recording. So we're recording this uh, episode of Face to Heels. Um, I with my busy schedule, it's hard for me to do a live episode, but I thought I need to do one of these. It's been a while, so I'd rather do a recorded episode. It's better than not doing one at all. So here we are. Um, there's been a lot of stuff going on in the wrestling world since we uh, had episode 26. So why don't we dig right into it? Um, as we all know, there was big news this weekend out of AEW. They had their pay per view called Wrestle Dream. It was in Seattle, Washington, at the Climate Pledge Arena. Um, Now, I didn't watch the show. I did see highlights of it. For the most part, it was from what I heard and what I read, it sounded like a pretty good show. You know, for AEW, the last few months, it's been kind of, I don't, lackluster, I would say. It was a show that, the Wrestle Dream show, it was one of those shows, the build up to it didn't really interest me into buying the show. So I didn't buy one. I didn't buy this particular show, but um, you know, there was a lot of matches on there that I heard and read were pretty good. Saw some highlights of the Brian Danielson Zack Saber Jr. match. Looked pretty good. Christian Cage and Darby Allin had a 2 out of 3 falls match for the TNT title. That was actually the main event. And when I heard that was going to be the main event, you kind of put two and two together, and I kind of knew what was going to happen, especially after that match. And that brings me to this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, the guy that showed up at Wrestle Dream, Mr. Adam Copeland, aka Edge, made his debut in AEW. He came out after the Christian Darby Allin match. It was retaining the AEW television title, or TNT title, I should say, um, beating Darby Allin. And when Nick Wayne, the guy that's been hanging out with Darby Allin, ended up turning his back on him, attacking him with the skateboard, then after the match, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne were beating up on Darby Allin, and then Sting came out. Sting, um, tried to make the save, but he got attacked as well. And then the lights went out, and then um, the you heard they say so many times with the Edge's theme song, "You Think You Know Me," and then his song, I think it's Ultra Bridge. I think the name of it. It's his one he used in WWE. Um, Popped, and the fans popped, and he arrived. It is true. Adam Copeland is with AEW, All Elite Wrestling, and he came out. At first, it looked like he was going to attack or finish the job on Sting with the concerto. You thought, well, him and Christian Cage are going to reunite, but instead he hit Nick Wayne with the chair and then speared Luchasaurus. Christian Cage got out of the ring, got back to the stage, and they had a stare down. Uh, Adam Copeland shook hands with Darby and Sting, and that was the end of the show. And there he is, right there, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Copeland is now All Elite. My thoughts on that, I think it's a great signing for AEW. I've been harping for months and months about how Tony Khan just keeps signing free agents, wrestlers every time they, you know, leave WWE, and he just signs them, grabs them, and doesn't utilize them as much. That's what I'm hoping here. I'm hoping that Adam Copeland can make a big difference for AEW. I think it's a great signing for one. I know people will say, well, he's 49, uh, how much can he still go? Can he still wrestle even part-time? The questions were answered at the AEW Wrestle Dream media scrum. Tony Khan was there, introduced Adam Copeland. Adam answered some questions, and Adam Copeland said he is going to be a full-time performer, which kind of surprising, but then again, knowing Adam Copeland, he loves to wrestle. The guy he retired for like 9 years. He's out of the room because of the neck injury. Everybody thought it was career ending, and for a while it was, but then he made his return back to the 2020 Royal Rumble. He's wrestled ever since. And, he's had an injury or two here and there, but nothing major. So with that being said, I think it's very interesting that Adam Copeland, I think what surprises me is he's going to be full-time. He's one of those guys you want to keep special, like a special attraction. Now, I don't see him being like the AEW world champion or anything like that, but I do think he's going to have some pretty good feuds. I mean, he said it himself, like he's never wrestled Samoa Joe. Talk about him. That would be a great match, great program. He met Kenny Omega for the first time. That could be a great program. Talked about Swerve Strickland. So, for me, when I listen to Edge Adam Copeland, can't use Edge now. When Adam was talking to the media scrum, it looked it felt and it sounded genuine that this guy really wants to contribute. He says he's here to help. He's here to, help with the creative, talk to the wrestlers, be kind of that locker room type of leader. And I think that's a good thing, because especially with what happened with, CM Punk, we know how that went and, how that ended, unfortunately. So when you hear somebody like Adam Copeland say, hey, I want to help contribute, I want to be here to, boost this company even higher to a higher platform. That's very encouraging, and AEW needs that right now. And I'm hoping that, not only will Adam Copeland contribute, but it'll motivate, other performers to, step up and, come up with their own creative ideas. And also, I'm hoping that Tony Khan can finally maybe delegate some of his work to other people, to veterans out in the wrestling industry that can help him, that work for him, that can, take some of the workload off him. Because I think that's what they need. They really need, Tony Khan needs to stop doing everything by himself. There's only 24 hours in a day. And, I think if, he's got Bryan Danielson helping him out a little bit, and that's good from what I'm hearing. So, maybe Adam can be another one of those guys that with Bryan Danielson can, take some of the workload, behind the scenes, take that off of Tony Khan, help him out, and, just take this company to the next level, because they really could use it. For the first, I would say, couple years, AEW was great. It was fun to watch. You were invested in these storylines, and I felt like right now they've gone away from that, and we're just seeing matches. Now, a lot of it is, we had the CM Punk drama. It's been, wrestlers leaving AEW. Cody Rhodes left. I felt Cody, and I still believe this. When he left, I think that hurt AEW, because Cody was one of the EVPs, the executive vice presidents, along with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks. But Cody pretty much had a level-headed, thought process. He was level-headed, and I'm not trying to offend Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks. I don't know him. I don't know. I'm not in AEW. I don't know what's going on, but hearing all the stuff, the way Cody left, and not getting along with Kenny and the Young Bucks. They had a different creative direction they wanted to go. It felt like Cody, out of those people I mentioned, was probably the most level-headed guy, and was really a creative mind when it came to storylines for AEW, kind of keeping their eye on the ball and growing the company. And I do think that was missing when Cody left. So with that being said, now that, Bryan Danielson stepped up, from what we're hearing, he's been helping out with creative, with the storylines, putting the matches together. And then Adam Copeland being here saying he wants to help contribute. To me, those are positives, and I hope that they can get back to what they do best, and that's, go with storylines, good character development, and that way you can sell those matches and you can get more people to buy the pay-per-views. You get more fans in the stands, in the seats. So yeah, I just feel like AEW's kind of lost that momentum the last year or so, and I really want to see that come back for AEW, because seeing all this stuff online on Twitter, and this constant AEW's better than WWE, WWE's better than AEW, it's pretty toxic. And I want both companies to succeed. Because I want to root for both companies. I have no, I'm not biased toward one or the other. I just want these companies to succeed. Not only WWE or AEW, I want Impact to succeed. I want NWA to succeed. I want New Japan to succeed. MLW, I want them to succeed. I've been watching some MLW and some Impact. It's been pretty good. They're putting on some good stuff, and I want all these companies to succeed. And I just don't get the whole, I hate this, or this company sucks, or that company sucks. Come on, enough with the, high school bullshit. That's fine if you like one company over it, great. But, it doesn't mean the other one sucks, I am going to be critical of what each company does. Right now, I think WWE's kind of stagnant, because we're not seeing any programs with Rhea Ripley defending the WWE women's title. Cody's kind of been stuck in neutral. Now he's going to be supposedly teaming with Jey Uso this Sunday at Fastlane to go up against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. It's Becky Lynch going to NXT. By the way, NXT had No Mercy this weekend, which is a very good show. Her and Tiffany Stratton had a great match, and I got a lot of high hopes for Tiffany Stratton. I think she's a very talented woman who just getting better and better. Her persona is just really good. Her wrestling's good. Her whole vibe is good, and I definitely see her going up to the main roster sooner than later. So, with WWE right now, it's sort of stagnant. You got John Cena feuding with the Bloodline, and then Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso and Solo. Now you got LA Knight teaming with John Cena, and Roman Reigns is not there. So it's really been okay at best, but it's just not moving the needle like it was earlier this year. AEW, like I said, really knows great storylines. I know they have Adam Cole, MJF, the whole Brochacho, stuff. But it just seems like after they're all in their big show in London, it's just been stagnant. Just just too many matches and not enough story to them, and that's not how you grow an audience. You got to grow an audience by having wrestlers that are over with the crowd, performers that can get over with the crowd, with their character work. And right now, from what I've seen, I haven't seen a lot of that in AEW, or hardly any of it. With AEW and even WWE, it's been pretty stagnant. So, yeah, I just hope that both companies can start getting it together. Because especially this time of year, with the NFL, their audiences are, going up and down. 1 week they'll have a good showing in the ratings. The next week it's going to be down. I'm not just talking about WWE. I'm talking about AEW as well. So, this is where you really want to be creative to try to get more fans, to watch the product, especially during football season where it's very tough. But still, I mean, and it seems like to me like WWE and AEW, maybe they know it's football season. Maybe they're just not giving it their best effort creatively. That shouldn't be an excuse. You got to bring it creatively 100%. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. WWE's been, until like maybe a couple years ago, it seemed like they only cared about getting it going creatively when it was WrestleMania season around Royal Rumble time, and the rest of the year it's kind of stagnant, so hopefully, both these companies can get it together creatively, put on some good shows, get people to, buy the pay-per-views or get people to watch the premium live events, so we can get that interest going again. So yeah, that's my take on that. And like I said, with Adam Copeland being in AEW, that I think should definitely help. Hopefully Tony Khan takes advantage of this big time. And because I know Adam Copeland's capable of, putting guys over, putting wrestlers over, giving them the rub, as they say, and going out there and putting on the best show every week. So, yeah. And speaking of signees, another signee happened right now recently. How about this one? Jade Cargill. You know her from AEW. She's the TBS champion for over 500 days. She is now with WWE, and there she is right there at the Performance Center. Right there. Training right there at the PC. This signing I think is very good for WWE. I think this is a good fit for Jade. She, came on the scene in 2022, early 2022, early 2021. She came on the scene, and then she won the TBS title not too long after that. Held it for over 500 days. I like Jade Cargill. I think she's got such a great look. She's a very good talker on the mic. She just has that, style, that charisma. She has that personality that, will lay eyes on her. She's pretty special. And I did feel like they kind of underutilized her at AEW. Maybe it's because she's a little green in the ring. Maybe they didn't want to use her as much on TV, but I just felt she could have been used better in AEW. She could have gotten more TV time, and now that she's going to WWE, I just found out recently that actually I found out earlier today that she's going to be joining the Raw brand. So she's not going to even go to NXT. She's going to supposedly just go to the main roster right away. And that's okay with me. I kind of wish she'd go to NXT for a little bit, kind of, get a little better in the ring. Not that she's bad, but I think she needs a little more experience in that ring. Work on some moves, get her timing, going. But at the same time, I mean, she has everything else: the look, the charisma. Just when she walks in a room, she has that presence, or walks down the aisle, she's got that presence. So, we'll see what happens. I think it's a good signing. I think she'll definitely, character-wise, I think she's going to get over pretty well. They already mentioned her on SmackDown recently with the signing. So, I think it's a good signing for AEW. I'm sorry, for WWE. I think she's a better fit there, because she has that look. She has, I don't want to call it the WWE look, because they, really do a good job with characters and stuff like that. But I think it's a better fit for her, just because, with AEW, it's more wrestling based. It's all about putting on the best matches, even though I'm a little critical at that sometimes, because I feel like they need to do more storylines, to get the wrestlers over so they can get to those matches. Where, with Jade Cargo, her character has more of a WWE feel. I think her personality has more of a WWE feel to it. So this is a good fit for her. And she's going to be a nice addition to that Raw women's division. They could use it. Right now you really only got like Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, Chelsea Green. Right now you got Sonya Deville, you got Liv Morgan. They're both on the shelf with injuries. So, it's a good fit. Raw's a good place to go for Jade, because they can use some more depth in that division and some new opponents for a Rhea Ripley or a Becky Lynch. So, yeah, I'm all for this move. And another former AEW performer, Brian Pillman Jr. He recently signed with WWE, and he's going to be on the NXT brand. They've already done a couple vignettes with him. They're showing, now you remember Brian Pillman Jr.'s father, Brian Pillman, wrestled in WCW, WWE. So they were showing old footage of when Brian Pillman actually, played football for the Bengals. Somebody was turning on the TV with the remote. You could see, Brian Pillman as a Cincinnati Bengal, and then you see the WCW Saturday Night, and then he's flipping through the channels, and all he sees is stuff with Brian Pillman. So, so those are the vignettes that they've been running. As far as Brian Pillman goes, Jr., I think he's going to be a good fit for NXT. Another guy that may have gotten underutilized because AEW has such a big roster that not everybody's going to get a lot of TV time. So I think for Pillman, NXT is a good spot for him. He can get used to that WWE style, and I think he'll be a good addition to that roster. Again, because you're going to have, people like Carmelo Hayes, you're going to have people like Braun Breaker. Those guys are going to eventually be called up to the main roster. So Now you got to restock the cabinet. So Brian Pillman Jr. got him coming in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So it's funny because like you really think about it with these acquisitions from both AEW and WWE, it feels kind of like a trade. Like a sports trade. Like AEW gets Adam Copeland, and WWE gets Jade Cargill, Brian Pillman Jr. So it's kind of like, okay, you're trading a veteran for two prospects. You know what I mean? Like that's what it kind of feels like, and like a baseball trade. You're getting these young prospects going to WWE, while AEW is getting that established veteran that can help the company grow right away. So yeah, that's what it feels like. It feels like a trade, so to speak, even though it's not, but kind of feels that way. So yeah, those are the acquisitions. That's a lot of what's been going on in wrestling lately. Some other wrestling news. Again, I just feel like WWE's and AEW's been sort of stagnant. Is it because of football season? I think that's part to do with that. Right now we're seeing over on Raw, you got Seth and Nakamura. They're gonna have another match at Fastlane. It's the last man standing match. I think Rollins will retain still. I don't see them putting the belt on Nakamura, but I'm glad he's getting some main event time. Getting a main event program. Like I said, I've said it before on the show. Shinsuke Nakamura I just feel like he's just been underutilized. I mean, he's just so talented. I never understood. Well, I pretty much know why, and I'm not going to discuss that. I don't want to, get into those of what I feel of why Nakamura hasn't been used, but I'll just say it's not for good reasons. But again, I'm glad he's getting into a main event program, getting some spotlight on him. And then, Cody Rhodes again, kind of stagnant. He's feuding with the Judgment Day. He's having a little tension with Kevin Owens, because of Cody bringing in Jey Uso to Raw. Jey Uso's on Raw now. So, yeah, that's pretty much what's going on Raw. SmackDown, you got John Cena feuding with the other members of the Bloodline, Jimmy Uso, Solo. Roman Reigns is not there right now. He's taking time off. Cena, with the actor strike, he's got time on his hands, so he's keeping himself busy, and that's good. I'm glad he's on WWE. He's being involved with the program. Same thing with the Rock. He made an appearance a few weeks ago on SmackDown. Had a nice little segment with Austin Theory, and Pat McAfee was there too. They were in Denver, Colorado, and because the Colorado Buffaloes, they had a game that week, so that's why The Rock and McAfee were there. And they stopped by Denver to, with WWE. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the main stuff going on in WWE, AEW. Like I said, Adam Copeland's there. He's back in the spotlight. He's now with AEW. Explained it earlier. I think it's a great move. MJF's still the AEW World Champion. I just think it's been a lackluster run for him. Him being the ROH Tag Team Champion as well, I think kind of brings him down a little bit. And no offense to Ring of Honor, but to me, it's just you might as well just call it dark or elevation, because that's what ROH is. And I'm hoping that's pretty much a training ground for up and comers to hit the AEW main roster. And again, I get it. Tony Khan purchased Ring of Honor, but it just feels like it's just at this point a developmental program. And there's nothing wrong with that, but but when you put the tag titles on a main eventer like MJF, it's not so much as elevating ROH. I think it's just kind of bringing down MJF a little bit. Just my opinion. And speaking of AEW, I heard that starting in 2024, there's reports that they will be streaming on Max. So more than likely, that's where their pay-per-views are going to be. I know that they have Bleacher Report just went to Max for live sports. It's a $9.99 added to your Max subscription, but that won't kick in until I believe the end of February. So you'll get sports on Max for free until February 29th, I believe, and then that's when it's an extra $10 a month. So I'm assuming that's going to include AEW pay-per-views as well. And there'll probably be premium live events because also there's been news that AEW is going to keep increasing the pay-per-views per month now. They started with 4, then it moved to 5, and so far I think we've had 6. Or I think 7. I think we've had Revolution, we've had Double or Nothing, we've had Forbidden Door, All In, All Out, Wrestle Dream. Yeah, so they've had 6 pay-per-views so far this year. I went to Double or Nothing in May. So it's here in Vegas. But yeah, so it's interesting. I like the 4 pay-per-view a year format. I think it gives you more time to build stories and develop characters for those storylines. But also it could be a Warner Brother Discovery decision. Maybe they're telling Tony Khan, hey, we want you to increase the pay-per-views per month. So who knows? But anyway, AEW is going to be on Max supposedly in 2024. So, and that's good. I'm glad that they're going to be able to go on a streaming service. And listen, that's where TV's going these days. It's going to streaming. It shouldn't be any surprise at this point. That's where people watch the majority of their stuff is, on their computer or on one of these. So, yeah, that's where it's been headed. So, and another thing too, WWE, made the official deal with Endeavor is official. So Vince McMahon is now going to have a boss to answer to. So for the first time in over 40 years, Vince McMahon has somebody to answer to. It's interesting. I never thought I'd say that, but that's what happens. So now as far as, WWE, another thing, speaking of them, SmackDown is going to be going to USA Network October of 2024. So it will no longer be on Fox. I think USA, NBC Universal paid more money, more rights fees to acquire SmackDown. Fox didn't want to match that offer. So this will be the last year for SmackDown on Fox. So it's going to go back to USA Network. Also, that means for Raw and NXT, they may be looking for new channels, for new networks as well. So there's Amazon, for Disney Plus. It's been interested. So we'll see where that goes. So yeah, it's a very unique time for the wrestling business, especially WWE. And by the way, they still have a deal with Peacock, I believe, till 2025. So that'll be interesting to see what happens if they renew with Peacock. I'm assuming they probably will re-up with them, but who knows? We'll see what happens. That's the other wrestling news so far. So even though we haven't had an episode of Face the Heels in a month, there really hasn't been too much other than Adam Copeland coming to AEW and Jade Cargill going to WWE along with the AEW on the Max in 2024 and SmackDown leaving Fox for USA Network, Raw and NXT looking for new homes. That's really about it. So that is pretty much the other news. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. I want to thank you guys for watching the show. Feel free to leave a comment. Please like and subscribe to the show. My social media handles are up there as well. Please follow me on those platforms. Again, this is a recorded episode, so after you watch it, feel free to leave the comments. I greatly appreciate that. Hopefully, we can start doing some more live Face the Heels episodes. I've been so busy that I just can't find a time right now to do a live one. I want to do a recording just to get one out there and just to keep up with the wrestling stuff, because it's been about a month now since I've done an episode of Face the Heels. So I appreciate you understanding what's going on, and we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But thank you guys very much for hanging in there with me. We'll try and do another episode sooner than later. Hopefully we could try to do another one next week. And with that being said, like I said, like and subscribe to this show. You can see it on YouTube, Ben Cornett 9015, on Facebook, on the Ben Zone, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. I'll have to change that image to an X. It's BennyBoy702. So with that being said, everybody, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time here on another episode of Face the Heels. Take care.